So guys, we are back with another This Week in Destiny breakdown video. This one we have some Act 2 livestream recap stuff, a check at the brand new artifact perks coming with Act 2, and a whole lot more. But before we get into it, as always, if you're going to enjoy this video or find it helpful, if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel, I would very much appreciate it. And with that being said, let's just jump into today's video, starting off here with the Act 2 Revenant livestream, which happened last Tuesday, or this Tuesday even. Obviously, Act 2 goes live next week, November 19th, and they did an entire live stream breaking down the brand new activity, that being Tomb of Elders, as well as giving us a look at some brand new stuff coming with the Dawning, new artifact perks, just a new weapon coming in Act 3 as well. So I've made a whole video breaking down that. If you want to watch that, I'll have it linked in the description. But in terms of the artifact perks here, we do actually get a look at them here. So in the first column, they are adding authorized mods melee, where the armor energy cost of all armor mods affecting your melee are significantly discounted. Then for column 2, you have emergency flare, where the emergency reinforcements consumes all but one armor charge. Then in column 3, you get the thick of it, where rapid final blows while surrounded grant you armor charge, and the boost for this states that while you are surrounded, your weapons have increased handling, and swords gain increased charge rate. Then for column 4, you get creative orbs, where the first time you break a target's shield or break the shield of a guardian using their super, you create an orb of power, and then the boost for this states that picking up an orb of power, an elemental pickup, or a tangle grants you a small amount of health. And then for the final new perk, we have Arc Compounding, where Arc sources deal increased damage to targets that are blind. So some very interesting stuff there for Arc-based builds coming inside of Act 2. Alongside that though, we do get some sandbox updates for Act 2, mainly focused around roaming supers, and they state that starting with Act 2, they'll be changing the damage-based recharge parameters of all roaming supers against PvE combatants only, and increasing the amount of super energy gained when damaging combatants roughly by 3 times the amount it is today. So the supers that are going to be receiving these changes include for the Hunter, you have Arc Staff, Golden Gun, but excludes the Celestial Nighthawk variant as it classifies as a one-off super, Spectral Blades, and Silk Strike. Titans, you'll be getting this buff to Fist of Havoc, Burning Maul, excluding Pyrogale, Hammer of Soul, Sentinel Shield, Glacial Quake, and Blade Fury. And then Warlocks will get it for Storm Trance, Daybreak, Nova Warp, and Winter's Wrath. They did also mention that in addition to this, they're upping the damage of roaming supers against champions by 30 to 55% depending on the super. This roughly brings all roaming supers to a similar damage profile against champions and will get them a distinct advantage in the next Grandmaster Nightfall over one-off supers. And to give you guys an idea of how much the energy recharge rate is changing, if you were to use between 3 to 5 Nova Bombs while playing an advanced Nightfall, you would now charge around 6 to 8 Nova Warps in the same activity. So it's going to be very fun to see how these supers play out with them being more readily available. It's kind of sad that the newer supers, especially for the Warlock, the Song of Flame, aren't included in this, but that is already quite strong, so it's to be expected there. Next up, we have some exotic armor changes coming in with Act 2. So first up, Point Contact Cannon Brace. They're amplifying lightning bolts so that they now do 100% increased damage over base, up from 50%, and Lightning Strike Defeats now also refund melee energy, reduced Thunderclap refund by roughly 10% to compensate for increased energy gains on average. Radiant Flux, the Synapse Junction's super damage benefit is increasing to roughly 20% per stack, up from 14%, and the max benefit is now 70% damage increase, up from 50%. And then Ballador's Wrath Weavers for the Warlock increase shatter damage to 150%, up from 100, and fixed an issue where enemies were inconsistently getting the boosted shatter damage, which led to decreased overall damage. Increased shatter damage now shows as yellow numbers to aid with visibility of the perk. Next up, we have some small weapon changes here coming for Telesto, as well as the micro missile grenade launcher frames. So for micro missile frames, they're increasing the velocity players can generate with the rocket jump blast, and Telesto is going to be receiving an increased Telesto detonation damage buff by 20% inside of PvE. Then there's a whole load of PvP related changes in terms of sandbox and abilities. So you've got some stuff happening to Prismatic there, and then also Storm's Edge. They're reducing the height of damage impulse from 5 to 3.75 meters and reduced damage resistance against players from 53% to 45%, both on cast and during the spin attack, and they've moved from tier 3 to tier 1 super cooldown. Also for armor, Knucklehead Radar changed how to activate the perk, now requires the wearer to damage a player to mark the target, and the target is now marked for 3 seconds, down from 7. Then you've got some minor changes coming for weapon archetypes in terms of precision bows, hand cannons in the aggressive frame, as well as better devils and yesterday's question. Then some machine gun changes as well. Nothing like all that major, but some just minor tweaks there for PvP. Then High Ground is also getting some changes for perks. This one has been running amok on the Bygones. They're changing it so that dealing damage to a player with a primary weapon now only grants a single stack of the damage buff, and dealing damage with a special weapon or against combatants continues to grant maximum stacks. Explosive Payload is getting some reduced splash damage from the perk when used on legendary hand cannons by 7% against players only. And then Telesto here corrected an issue where Telesto was doing less damage than intended in PvP. Ariana's Vow fixed critical damage bug in PvP, and Thorn and Lumina are going to be getting some increased base stability by 5. And then you've got some other lobby balance changes for PvP which you can read for yourself, as well as some Mercy rule changes as well. Then they're just going to talk about Festival of the Lost last minute contest winners. So they've got some whole new fashion stuff here, as well as some new pumpkins which all look really good. So congratulations to anybody who has won this. All these look actually really cool. And then they also talk about the new collabs coming within Act 2. First up, the Street Fighter collab. Now they only have the image here of the new ghosts, but there is also a brand new universal helmet ornament and some brand new emotes and finishes as well, all inspired by Street Fighter. These should be available in the Eververse store for, I believe, Bright Dust and potentially Silver. I know that they stated that the Doki Doki sets will be for Bright Dust and Silver, not 100% sure on the Street Fighter stuff, so check the Eververse store when Act 2 goes live to check on that stuff. And that's basically it for everything announced in this TWID. Some other stuff that I want to mention is that obviously with Act 2 going live, there's going to be Iron Banner coming back with some brand new weapons, as well as the Dawning, which is also going to be receiving a brand new weapon, as well as brand new dragon themed inspired armor, which looks really cool. And Banshee should also be selling some god roll weapons as well with Act 2's launch, so make sure you head over to him to grab some of those. And yeah, that's basically it for today's TWID. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed the breakdown. If you want to read this thing for yourself, I'll have it linked in the description. That's it from me here today, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.